Have you ever heard of Dracula? Of course, you have. The pale-fanged count from Transylvania is one of the most iconic figures in horror history. But what if I told you the real story behind Dracula is even more fascinating than the legend? It's not about vampires, but about a powerful, secret society of knights, a king with a grand vision, and a prince whose name would become synonymous with terror. This is the story of the Order of the Dragon. Let's travel back to the early 15th century. Europe is in turmoil. The mighty Ottoman Empire is expanding, pushing its borders further and further into Christian lands. At the same time, religious divisions and internal conflicts are tearing kingdoms apart. It was a time of fear, faith, and fierce battles. In the middle of all this chaos stood one man, Sigismund of Luxembourg. Sigismund was no ordinary ruler. He was the king of Hungary and Croatia, and later he would even be crowned Holy Roman Emperor. He was ambitious, clever, and deeply religious, and he saw the Ottoman threat as the greatest danger to his world. He knew that to fight such a powerful enemy, he needed more than just an army. He needed a brotherhood. A group of the most elite, most loyal, and most powerful nobles in Europe, all bound by a sacred oath. So, in 1408, he created something extraordinary, the Order of the Dragon. The official name was the Society of the Dragon, and its mission was crystal clear. Its statutes declared that the order was founded to defend the Holy Cross and to fight the enemies of Christianity. Specifically naming the Ottomans and other pagans, this wasn't just a military alliance, it was a sacred calling. Members swore an oath of fealty, not just to Sigismund, but to God himself. Becoming a member of the Order of the Dragon was the medieval equivalent of getting an invitation to the most exclusive club in the world. The initial group consisted of just 24 members, including Sigismund himself and his queen, Barbara of Scilly. This inner circle included some of the most influential figures of the era, kings, powerful dukes, and legendary warriors from across Europe. There was King Alfonso of Aragon and Naples, King Vladislav II of Poland, and Stefan Lazarevio, the despot of Serbia, a brilliant military commander. These were the heavy hitters, the movers and shakers of their time. The symbolism of the order was incredibly potent and designed to inspire awe and loyalty. Its main emblem was a dragon, its tail coiled around its own neck, forming a circle. On its back, it bore the Red Cross of St. George, a classic symbol of Christian martyrdom and victory over evil. The circular dragon symbolized eternity and the cyclical nature of life and death. But this dragon was defeated, subjugated by the power of the cross. The message was unmistakable. The forces of evil, represented by the dragon, would be crushed by the faith and strength of these Christian knights. Members proudly wore this insignia, often as a collar or a badge, to display their allegiance. It was a mark of supreme honor. So, how does this all connect to Dracula? This is where the story takes a famous turn. In 1431, Sigismund needed to secure a crucial buffer zone against the Ottomans, the region of Wallachia, which is in modern-day Romania. To do this, he chose a local nobleman named Vlad to govern the region, to cement their alliance and honor him. Sigismund inducted Vlad into the Order of the Dragon. From that moment on, Vlad was known as Vlad Dracul. In Old Romanian, Drac meant dragon. So Vlad Dracul literally meant Vlad the Dragon. He was immensely proud of this title. He put the dragon symbol on his coins and on his coat of arms. He was the Dragon Knight, protector of the frontier. Now, Vlad Dracul had several sons. One of them was a boy named Vlad, just like his father. To distinguish the son from the father, people added a suffix. In Romanian, adding Iulia to a name often means son of. So Vlad Dracul's son became known as Vlad Dracula, the son of the dragon. It wasn't a spooky name. It was a title of nobility, a sign of his prestigious lineage. It connected him directly to his father's honored place in the Order of the Dragon. This Vlad Dracula is the man who would later become infamous as Vlad the Impaler. His methods of ruling were brutal, even for the time. He became legendary for his cruelty towards his enemies, especially the Ottomans, and his preferred method of execution was impalement, which earned him the nickname Vlad the Impaler. He was a ruthless military leader, driven by a desire to protect his homeland from invaders, just as the Order of the Dragon's Oath had demanded. But over time, the meaning of his name began to shift. The word Drac in modern Romanian also means devil. So, for his enemies and for later generations, Dracula, son of the dragon, slowly morphed into son of the devil. It was this dark reputation, combined with the folklore and superstitions of Eastern Europe, that the Irish author Bram Stoker drew upon when he wrote his novel, Dracula, in 1897. Stoker likely never knew the full history of the Order of the Dragon. He simply found a terrifying name with a spooky ring to it, attached to a historical figure known for his bloodthirsty reputation. He blended this with vampire myths, and an immortal literary monster was born. The historical Dracula, the son of a knight sworn to defend Christianity, was transformed into the king of the undead, an enemy of all that is holy. It's a pretty wild twist, isn't it? So what happened to the Order of the Dragon itself? After the death of its founder Sigismund, in 1437, the order began to lose its prestige and influence. Its mission was so tied to Sigismund's personal vision and political goals that without him at the helm, it struggled to maintain its purpose. The Ottoman threat didn't go away, of course. In fact, it grew. But European politics were shifting. New alliances formed, old rivalries flared up, and the unity that Sigismund had tried to forge with his order began to fracture. While the Order of the Dragon didn't last forever, its legacy is undeniable. It stands as a powerful example of the chivalric ideals of the late Middle Ages, a fusion of faith, military duty, and aristocratic honor. And through one of its most famous members and his notorious son, its name became unintentionally immortalized in a way its founder could never have imagined. The dragon, meant to symbolize a defeated evil, became the very symbol of literature's most famous monster. The next time you see a movie or read a book about Dracula, remember the true story behind the name. Remember the king who dreamed of a united Christian Europe, the secret society of knights who swore to protect it, and the prince whose title, Son of the Dragon, was twisted by history into something far darker. The reality is a tale of emperors, warriors, and a sacred oath, a story far more complex and compelling than any vampire tale. It's a reminder that sometimes the truth of history is stranger and more interesting than fiction. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into medieval history fascinating, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories hidden behind the legends we all think we know. See you next time.